How's it going, guys? It is MattySports bringing you my Week 14 predictions of the 2013 college football season. Last week in Week 13, I broke even. I went 5-5. I got my upset special wrong. I got Baylor and Oklahoma State wrong. Oklahoma State surprisingly came out and played really well and just dominated Baylor. So overall, an average week, 5-5. I'll see if I can do better next week. Now, before I start my predictions, Week 14 has to be my favorite week in college football because, as we all know, it's rivalry week, and all these games on my page are rivalry games except for possibly one. I'm not sure if it's a rivalry game, but anyway, we're going to go and get things started with our first game here of the War on I-4 of USF traveling on the road to number 19 UCF. Now, this is a Friday night game on ESPN, and UCF has been dominant this whole year. Their only loss came to South Carolina by 3 points. And South Florida has struggled. They lost to an FCS team in McNeese State. They're 2-8. They're traveling on the road. I don't give them a chance here. I think UCF is going to run all over USF with Blake Bortles and Storm Johnson. So I give UCF an easy victory. And if UCF does win this game, it will be their first win in this rivalry. So they'll get their first win over USF. Next up, we have the Platypus Trophy of Oregon State traveling on the road to number 13 Oregon. Now, even though Oregon State's unranked, I think they have a really good shot at winning this game. They have a really great wide receiver, and Oregon is coming off of a loss against Arizona, so that's kind of a disheartening loss for them. But Oregon is at home, so I'm going to have to take the Ducks at home here. Next, we have the game in the Big House of number 3 Ohio State traveling on the road to unranked Michigan. Now, Michigan has had a disappointing year. I thought they would have a much better year, but unfortunately that has not been the case. And Ohio State is still undefeated under Urban Meyer. They still have not lost a game yet. They're undefeated this season, and I don't see that changing. I think they'll be able to go into Michigan and be able to win this game. Next, we have another rivalry game in the state of Florida of number 2 Florida State traveling on the road to unranked Florida. Now, Florida has had a disappointing year, very awful. In my AP poll breakdown, I thought they would go I thought they would go 8-4, and they did a lot worse. They're 4-7, they're 4-7 right now, and it's just been a disappointing year for the Gators. On the other hand, for Florida State, they're still undefeated. Jameis Winston has been having great games. However, he does have allegations looming over his head if he possibly was the main person who did the sexual assault case, but the state attorney's not going to rule on that until maybe 2 weeks from now, so he will be able to play this game, but everything's uncertain there, so anything could happen in a rivalry game. Florida is at home. They could have the momentum, but I see Florida State coming into Florida and winning by at least 14 points. Next up, we have another rivalry game in the state of South Carolina of number 6 Clemson traveling on the road to number 10 South Carolina. Now this is probably the second most appealing matchup of the day. Clemson is coming in with only one loss to Florida State, and South Carolina, they've been pretty great so far. They're number 10. They've only had a couple losses, so they've been pretty good this season. South Carolina is at home, but I'm going to have to give the edge to Clemson just because even after that loss to Florida State, they've been coming back and winning their games pretty convincingly, so I'm going to have to give the Tigers an edge on the road here. Next, we have number 25 Notre Dame traveling on the road to number 8 Stanford. Now, I don't think Notre Dame should be in the top 25. I mean, they did come off of a win against BYU, but I think Stanford's a much better team, and Stanford is at home, so I'm going to have to give the edge to Stanford at home to win this rivalry game. Next, we have a little Big 12 reunion, I guess you could say, of number 21 Texas A&M traveling on the road to number 5 Missouri. Now, this is a critical game for Missouri. If Missouri loses this, then South Carolina goes to the SEC Championship. However, if Missouri wins, then they're going to the SEC Championship. And this also has national title implications for Missouri because they could still beat Texas A&M and then possibly beat the winner of Alabama and Auburn in the SEC Championship game. Now, Texas A&M is coming off of a loss to LSU, I believe, and I thought they would have performed much better, but unfortunately they did not. Johnny Manziel picked up his first loss on the road. In Missouri, they have their starting quarterback James Franklin back after his injury for a couple of weeks. So because of that, Missouri is at home. I like the Tigers being able to beat Texas A&M at home. Next, we have the rivalry in California of number 22 UCLA traveling on the road to number 23 USC. And as you can tell by the rankings, these teams are pretty evenly matched. It's kind of hard to pick a side. However, I am going to pick USC in this because they have been on a momentum with Ed Orgeron as their interim head coach. And UCLA came off of a loss last week to Arizona State. I think they'll still kind of be hungover after that loss, and I like USC at home here. And next, we have my upset special, is the Georgia rivalry of Georgia traveling on the road to Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia has lost their starting quarterback, Aaron Murray. He's out for the rest of the season. And Georgia Tech, they've had an alright season so far. They're at home, and I think their triple option will be able to upset Georgia in here. I think it'll be a close game, but because Aaron Murray is out, I think Georgia Tech will be able to win this game. And next we have the marquee game of the week where College Game Day will be going to. It is probably going to be the best game so far this year, and it is a top 5 matchup in the SEC of number 1 Alabama traveling on the road to number 4 Auburn. Now, to me, I see this game going to be similar to the Florida State-Miami game. On paper, it looks appealing in terms of 2 top 5 teams being ranked, but I feel that just like Miami, I feel like Auburn is very, very overrated. I don't think they're that good. They came off of a somehow amazing Hail Mary bounce off the defender's helmet, caught it into the end zone play to beat Georgia 2 weeks ago. Auburn is coming off of a bye week, but even then, I think Alabama's just too good, and I honestly see this as not being a close game, unfortunately. I mean, Iron Bowls, they're always great games. This may be the best one to date, or at least in terms of the most significant. But I don't think Auburn's as good as Alabama, and I see Alabama at least winning this by, I want to say, 3 touchdowns. I really don't think it's going to be close at all. But anyway, guys, that's it for me in this rivalry week 14 predictions video. Let me know in the comments below if there's any games that I missed or you wanted me to predict, or your thoughts on the games I predicted. But anyway, guys, that'll do it for me. This has been MattySports, and I'll see you guys next week for Conference Championship weekend, where I'll pick 10 more games. See you guys then.